Hey everyone watching this video. I wanted to make this because I get asked very often about the companies that I do contract coaching for, what I like about them, what I don't like. So before people schedule time with me, I want to make sure that I've covered all these basics, and then you can ask me questions after that if you're still unclear. So right now, personally, in September of 2022, I do contract coaching for Bravely, BetterUp, and I do contract work for Chief as a facilitator, as a guide. Each one of those companies has similarities. Each one of those companies have differences. And really what I want to talk about is not necessarily some of my findings, but it's really what's going to be most important for you going forward. I think the first thing that I wanted to mention were priorities. What's your priority with coaching? Is it an after hours thing? Is it a daytime thing? Is it your primary source of income? Or is this something that you do after hours trying to build up your coaching business? That's what I would try to figure out first, is really where coaching is in that priority. This will lead to other topics. So that's what I want to figure out. If this comes after work, if this comes after kids, again, very different than if you say, I'm going to coach 8 to 12, Monday through Friday, and then I'm going to do something else, maybe my jewelry business in the afternoon. That's all going to help you dictate what the answers are and how you want to process this going forward. The second thing that I wanted to bring up is whatever your values are and whatever your goals are. So again, all of these tie together neatly, but your values are something that's very private and important to you. So I'll share, if you need a values quiz, let me know. If you're coaches, I'm sure you already know this. So my values are, one of them is judgment, critical thinking, and open-mindedness. That's one of my values. Another one that I haven't done an assessment on is like autonomy. Most coaches have a value of really seeing and connecting with people deeply. You all probably know your values because that's how you connect to your ideal avatar. Knowing what those are the guiding principles to helping you figure out who you're going to coach with best. And I'll give you, I've got a million examples, but I'll give you some of these. There's a company that was founded by somebody who used to work at a company that I did. So I'm thinking, oh, we're going to completely align. I can see that that's who their ideal clients are. This is going to be a cinch. But what their values were, how their values differed from mine, is they took exactly how they used to work in that business and they just switched it to coaching. Well, they're not the same businesses at all. They're professional services businesses, but not the same at all. And what I valued was my autonomy. I valued putting people first, and I valued seeing people deeply. Again, that's one of my super skills, seeing people deeply. When I could tell that that company wasn't doing that, I was very clear that that wasn't the company for me. So when you articulate those values, that's what you need to make sure that you use as your guiding principle. If you don't, you will say yes to something and just be resentful about doing the work. And I say this out of experience. I've done it too. My second thing that goes along with values are goals. Again, if your goal is to have as many different coaching contract companies as possible, then again, if you make sure that they align with your values, great. If you want to go super deep with a lot of people, or if you want to go super deep with a few people, that's very different goals. If you need to have $1,000 a month, or if you need to have $5,000 a month or $10,000 a month, that's going to be different type of work than somebody who just wants $500 a month income, or they just want $100. You might have a goal of getting your ACC or PCC or MCC. If that's your goal, that's different too. You're going to need to crank through some more of those that you're getting paid for. That's different than the work that you would be doing otherwise. So again, identify those goals, and it's going to help point you to the right company. The final thing that I would say is you need to focus on that pay. This pay could vary if it's project work. If maybe it's going to be project work, but it pays, $500 an hour, but you're only going to get 2 of those projects a year, that's going to vary versus you get paid $50 an hour, but you have a lot of work throughout the year. So figure out what those pay responsibilities are and figure out how they're going to correlate to private clients. Private client pay is always going to be the most, and they're going to be those clients that you're going to have to go ahead and get on your own. So figure out what that looks like regarding pay. A lot of this is your internal work about owning your own value too. So determine what that is, determine what pay is important to you. I'm going to touch back on the values. What you need to figure out with the companies that you want to work with, or do their values align to yours? If you look on my LinkedIn page, and I've already said who I do contract coaching with. I do it with Bravely, I do it with BetterUp, and I do it with Chief. The pay is different for all of them, of course, remarkably so. In short, what I found personal to me is Bravely is very much, they use the phrase, they want to democratize coaching. And they really live up to that when they say that they want to do that. What that generally means is that they want to make coaching affordable to all. That's what I've seen. Could be different after or before this date, but that's what I've seen. When that's their philosophy, it definitely means that their pay is going to be less, and it is less. You have the opportunity to put availability in your schedule, and people just automatically come to your schedule that way. But the pay is not great. And again, that's going to be relative depending on who you are. But that is their focus. With democratizing coaching as being their focus, they're I use the phrase granola company. They're very touchy-feely. They want to make sure that they get to know people. This was more evident when they were smaller. They're getting bigger, but they definitely have that feel. And again, companies go to Bravely and get coaching for a portion or all of their employees. So it's a different model. The other company that I do contract coaching with is BetterUp. BetterUp was founded by 2 guys in Silicon Valley that had gotten coaching before, at least one of them had, and they wanted to figure out how you sell coaching to companies that are in Silicon Valley initially. And how you do that was you always had to show the ROI of coaching. That's not to say Bravely doesn't do that too. Bravely just does it very differently. So with always showing that ROI, they're very AI and numbers focused. With that being their focus, they have to prioritize that and its numbers, its volume, it's in what your evaluations look like. And they're trying to do as much AI while they're doing coaching. Those don't always mix. But again, if using more AI, using more technology, and trying to get those helping you while you're doing your coaching aligns with you, then this is the company for you. They've definitely had, and you can go back and look at what they've had with some issues that they've had earlier this year. It's Googleable. You can go figure out what's happened to them earlier this year and kind of how they've changed their model, because they were one way, they've changed it, and then they've changed it again. So they're kind of trying to redo a lot of the ways that they had been doing things. Again, knowing how they founded the company, technology and AI, and trying to reach more people, it's a different model. Much like Bravely, BetterUp sells to companies too, but their primary focus is not democratizing coaching. You can get BetterUp direct, and it's not their priority to democratize coaching. That's what they're doing with BetterUp Direct. That doesn't mean that it is super affordable for people still with BetterUp Direct. So again, with that not being their focus, their tone of their emails, the tone of their meetings, the tone of what they're doing. Everything is different because that isn't their focus. So the reason that I point those two out distinctly, because I have the most experience with them, and because you need to see what aligns with your values. All of this will help you make informed decisions as well. Because I've spoken on this before, talked to coaches about it, had one-on-one meetings with it a lot, that's prompted me to do this video. It's also prompted me to have a Google sheet that outlines coaching companies when I hear of them or when other people tell me of them, and other facts about them, where they're located, what part of the country they're located in, do they do audio or video, what type of coaching that they do, pay rates if I get them, all sorts of different characteristics about them. When I get those, I compile them. If you're interested in looking at those just so that you have a listing, you have some more context, realize some of the information is older than others, feel free to reach out and let me know, and I can get you connected with that. If you have any other questions, write those down. My point is you've really got to figure out you, and then other people, and with some of my research, can help you figure out what's best for you. You've just got to know you first so that you're not coaching and being resentful of it, because I've done that before. Have a good day. Hope I meet you, and let me know if you have any questions or if I missed anything. Thanks.